institutions want to launch on as many chains as possible to have the widest distribution for their assets from day one.
Hi there, Internet. It's Mike from QuickNode, and I'm here with Nikhil from Wormhole.
Thanks so much for having me on today, Mike. Excited to be here.
You've had a pretty amazing career. Can you tell us really how you got into tech and also how you got into crypto as well?
Yeah, of course. I was always really interested in tech. When I was a kid, I loved to build things. I built a lot of Legos. I built a lot of video games. I loved to experiment, loved to keep my hands dirty. When I went to college, my friends and I got into crypto during that 2017 bull run. And we started buying Bitcoin. We started buying crypto kitties. We had this method for trading crypto kitties. We tried to calculate what traits we would get if we bred two kitties together. It was a great time to experiment. Things were so open and new back then. That was a really fun time and my first exposure to the space, and have stuck with it ever since. I actually got started working on Wormhole when I joined Jump Crypto in 2021, 2022. Jump was at the forefront of a lot of things that were happening. Jump was trading, Jump was partnering with a lot of different firms, Jump was investing in a lot of firms. Jump had a DeFi arm that helped projects build their technical teams and their technical products. A Wormhole was one of the projects incubated at Jump at the time, and that's how I got started working on Wormhole. It was very greenfield, very early, a lot of new products to work on, a lot of new partnerships to drive forward. Then when Wormhole eventually spun out of Jump in 2023, made a lot of sense for me to join the initial team at the foundation.
That's probably one thing that's worth talking about, because unlike most of the other crypto organizations we've talked to, Wormhole is a foundation. It's a not-for-profit. Do you want to tell us more about the vision for that, and I guess how Wormhole has evolved as a product and as an organization over time?
Yeah, of course. So Wormhole is made up of the Wormhole contributor set. There are several different teams in addition to the Wormhole Foundation who contribute to Wormhole. There's the Wormhole Foundation, there's Wormhole Labs. Asymmetric Research might actually be a name that many folks recognize. They're actually a really big security firm that partners long-term with lots of different projects in the space nowadays. And there are several other teams that contribute to Wormhole as core contributors. Wormhole has seen a lot of different iteration in terms of the focus and products, but one thing has definitely stayed constant through the cycles, and that is Wormhole actually found PMF pretty early. Connecting Solana to Ethereum was the first iteration of Wormhole, and specifically allowing people to perform token transfers between Solana and Ethereum. So to actually bridge their tokens between those two chains. Of course, Wormhole then added general message passing, so you could pass any piece of arbitrary data. Wormhole added queries, so you could pull data instead of pushing data. And there's a whole product suite that's been built on top of that. We added lots of new chains. We added alt VMs, lots of different EVM chains. But the thing that has stayed constant throughout, and that we've really learned to focus on over the years through the cycles we've been through, has been token transfers. And as I said, Wormhole found PMF pretty early in token transfers. People really find value in transferring their tokens across chains. And it makes a lot of sense. There are lots of different opportunities on different chains. There are different trading opportunities, lending opportunities, airdrop opportunities, new projects to try out. There's a wide ecosystem and tons of value in being a really fast, secure, reliable, cheap solution to allow people to move tokens cross chain.
And Solana was super young, like just getting access to liquidity from Ethereum would have been just a huge and really like vital thing for a brand new chain.
Yeah, it was huge for Solana back in the day. And Wormhole has also really doubled down on that connection to Solana over the years. We're connected directly with every single protocol in Solana. We have a great relationship with the Solana Foundation. A lot of people knew us originally as the Solana Bridge, and that connection has really paid dividends for Wormhole over the years. And so that's really what we learned to focus on, was token transfers and doubling down on the areas where we had a competitive relationship strategic advantage. So it's really exciting that Wormhole is still able to do a lot with Solana. You might have seen the recent launch of Sunrise in Q4 last year, bringing Monad to Solana. Sunrise continues to be a really important brand for the Solana ecosystem, performing decentralized token listings for assets on Solana, driving a lot of volume, interest, and trading activity on Solana. So we continue to double down on that.
It's interesting. The narrative has really changed. I think like who's been a huge part of this, going from all the chains like this, I guess, red ocean kind of strategy, everyone kind of competing with each other, to if it's an asset, it should be tradable on Solana, whether it's monad, whether it's the base token, whether anything else, which is hopefully, I think, a sign of maturity in the sector.
Yeah, I would agree. Of course, at Wormhole, we sit in between all the chains. Solana is one chain that we serve, but we serve a lot of other chains and work with a lot of other foundations. I think that sort of focus from Solana has been something that other chains have noticed and want to replicate. It's been successful. And so I agree. I think it's a sign of maturity, and I think it's worked really well.
For people that haven't used a bridge before, how does bridging work?
Yeah, sure. How does bridging actually work? The fundamental primitive that underlies bridging is general message passing. And that means sending arbitrary data from one chain to another chain. Typically that's done in a push method, but you can also do that in a pull method. Wormhole supports both. Now, what this means is you can encode any arbitrary data, let's say on Ethereum, call the Wormhole contract on Ethereum, that emits a message on Ethereum. The Wormhole Guardians, they are 19 industry leading, well-known validator companies, all independent as well, observe that message each independently because they're all running a full node for all the chains that Wormhole supports. So all the Guardians independently observe that message that got emitted on Ethereum. They each independently attest to it. And once a supermajority of them have attested to that message, then they create what's called in the Wormhole terminology a VAA, which is a verified attestation. That attestation can then be submitted to any destination chain that will receive it. So you need to have a source chain sending contract and a destination chain receiving contract that will receive that attestation, verify that the signature set on it is valid, and then take the data payload that's in there, decode it based on your protocol. So that's the fundamental primitive.
So that's actually really cool. When we're bridging with Wormhole, we're not trusting Wormhole, the organization, we're trusting a bunch of well-known teams who run validators across major chains.
Exactly.
Excellent. Where do you think tech is going right now, just for not just for Wormhole, but for crypto and also like all of wider tech?
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time in crypto and also in the broader world of tech. Obviously, productivity gains you can get from adopting AI are massive. I recently equipped my whole team of engineers at the foundation and across the contributor set with Claude and Codex, and it's like turning all of them into a manager. They each have an engineer through Claude or Codex that they can manage themselves to do work and increase their productivity. It's helping teams move a lot faster, ship a lot faster, and just get more done. That's in the broader world of tech. I think in the world of crypto, the thing that has been on everyone's mind is institutions and institutional capital coming into crypto. I think this is really happening. It's clear from all the announcements you see, all the developments you see from protocols, that institutions are actually coming on board. There is a lot of institutional capital coming into the crypto ecosystem. Wormhole has been working with many institutions as well because institutions want to launch on as many chains as possible to have the widest distribution for their assets from day one. And the lines are starting to get blurred between what crypto can do and what traditional finance can do.
I feel that like a lot of things we used to refer to as DeFi a few years ago are just now finance.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you very much, Nikhil. That was super insightful.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.